Time. This is a VO's journey, and my name is Anthony Pica. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business, sidestep all the crazy things that this guy seems to keep stepping in. Good morning. It is Wednesday, October 5th. It is great to be coming to you live. I'm excited about our topic today. We're going to be talking about some crazy big news that's kind of going around everywhere, and it's pretty crazy. I had found some articles about this in the beginning of the week, and we've been having a great week at the Academy, and we're always talking about at the Academy growing our voiceover business, but also part of that discussion is always, what rates should we be charging? And this particular topic, we're going to be talking about Crunchyroll. If you haven't seen it, Crunchyroll and Funimation are two big, some of the largest companies when it comes to translating anime amongst a variety of things to different languages and to English. And so they're a massive company that hires a lot of voice actors. And they came out recently with some pretty crazy news, and I want to talk to you about that because it's blowing up Twitter and blowing up the internet about people up in arms about it. So thought it'd be worthy for us to talk about. So grab your coffee. We'll get into this. If you are new or coming back or whatever, please put your name and where you're from in the chat so we can say hello. Also, put questions in there. Do you have any voiceover questions? Any questions about the VO's Journey Elite Academy? Questions about our conference? That's next week. So crazy about our conference or any of the voiceover classes or courses that we offer over at a VO's Journey. Please put any of those questions in the chat. So let's dive into this. I'm going to get a drink of coffee here before we dive into the Crunchyroll fiasco. So basically, what's going on, if you haven't heard, is Crunchyroll, all right, which is like I said, a company that takes anime, like Japanese or whatever, and it translates and it hires a lot of voice actors to do so. Well, they recently purchased Funimation, which is another company that does that, and literally has become one of, if not the largest hirer of voice actors for dubbing anime. And it came out recently that they had some whistleblowers, if you were, or some people, and again, nothing. Crunchyroll, Funimation has not released any statements about their actual pay, but it came out that they were paying voice actors $35 to $75 an hour to dub these anime into English or different languages. And basically SAG-AFTRA jumped on this, and basically, put out there that, they want to have a conversation with Crunchyroll about that pricing structure. And a lot of people are upset now about how little Crunchyroll is paying voice actors. And, for an hour of work between $35 to $70, a bunch of different articles have been, put out there. One of them was from Anime Motivation, titled Crunchyroll and Funimation only pay $35 per hour minimum to anime voice actors. And so it goes in and talks about Funimation's catalog will now move over to Crunchyroll's because they just purchased it, with all their dubbed content being available in CR. And the couple big things here. One is they finalized that their Crunchyroll is, really become a monopoly in this arena. And, that's also caused an issue, right? Because who else is going to compete against them? But basically they go on to say, that They are one of the conversations being Funimation only paid anime dub voice actors $35 per hour, which is severely underpriced compared to the umbrella of voice acting. And this kind of blew up. I don't know. This person's from Twitter said, for those not in the know, Funimation has a long history of exploitive tiered pay for anime actors, starting out at only $35 an hour without session minimums. With this merger, there is zero excuse to continue the shameful practice. Pay your actors. So then it came out, like I said, that they SAG-AFTRA caught wind of this and came out with this thing. Let's sit down and have a conversation. So very smart of SAG-AFTRA and very good marketing because it blew up on Twitter with like the hashtag sit down and talk or something like that. It became a big thing. So voice actors, a lot of people putting out sit down and talk, or we just want to sit down and have a conversation. And Crunchyroll at this point is refusing to do that. So it is really coming to a boiling point to see what happens with it. And some people or some places have started somewhat of pulling out, but I don't really think with the problem is with the monopoly that Crunchyroll now that owns Funimation has, everybody's in kind of a tight spot. And now the company is headquartered in Texas, I believe, which is, of course, a right-to-work state. Okay? So that's a challenge in itself. But I do think that a couple things here. First off, pricing-wise. You know me, I've always been an advocate for pricing, the way someone, allowing price to do its own thing. Not stepping in and forcing people to charge XYZ. However, I also look at this as a test of like, what would I do? Right? Because I'm part of a VO's journey is the fact that, it's my journey and in all of our journeys, right? Together as we're going down for this voiceover path. And I think to myself, would I record for $35 an hour, as a business owner and what I'm doing? And you know what? The answer is absolutely not. I would not do that in my business. And there's a variety of reasons for that. I think because here's a perfect example. Even audiobooks, which many of us do audiobooks, right? We know that. We don't do a lot of times the bare minimum when we're starting out is $50 per finished hour. Now I know it's a little bit more, because it's per finished hour is deceptive, but still it's basically an hour of recording. Now they said $35 minimum, so that's just the minimum. So I know they go up somewhat from there, but not very high. And they said there was no what did it say? There was no minimums for session fees. Now I do want to point out a couple things. One, I've searched through this, and the whistleblowers that came out about this, because my first question is, my first question was, well, is this true? Like, do we have does Crunchyroll publish this somewhere? Is it true that this is actually what they're paying their voice actors? And it came out that a casting director that had, I guess, casted casted for Crunchyroll came out and said that they were most likely paid between $35 and $75 an hour. So, of course, that's kind of hit to where now they're saying that, but we don't. But just to be on all fairness, on the other side to Crunchyroll and Funimation, I don't know if they're actually charging that. However, because of Crunchyroll and Funimation's lack of saying anything, you know what I mean? And I don't, I don't have and it's not because they haven't said anything really about it. You kind of feel like, well, they're not disputing it. You know what I mean? I mean, if they were proud of, but then again, too, I don't know what they think, or whoever their PR department is telling them how to react to this. But anyways, like I said, for me, does it boil down to would I do that? And by the way, put your thoughts in the chat about how you feel about that. If a company contacts you and they're like, we're going to pay you $35 to record for an hour. Now, again, they don't talk about the session fees. So basically how it works, because a lot of us, especially freelancers, who are running our own businesses at home, we are so ingrained in charging per word, right? And that per word then encompasses, and we have buyout rights in perpetuity. Now we can charge more like usage rights, which is something. But how another part of pricing, right, in the voiceover world works is that you are paid for a session fee. Like I come in and I was like, there's a minimum $200 for me to come in today for a session. Even if that session is an hour or the session's 6 hours, and then it goes up depending on how many hours it is. But there's minimum session fee payments, and that's like the time, like my time. Then there's usage fees, or like to buy out either for a specific amount of time for me to use the IP or intellectual property, which is our performance, or we buy out in perpetuity. Okay. For us, so most of us, we work now, and which I've always worked for so long, that you do words, you pay for your words, and then, like you pay me $100 for 100 words, and then, you pay me another $150 to buy out my work in perpetuity for you to use to promote on all platforms or whatever I agree to. But this model is a different type of pricing. So what they're saying is they don't even know what the bare minimum session fee is. And on top of that, they're only paying $35 to $75 an hour. And now here's the rub. I'm not sure, because Crunchyroll Funimation hasn't said anything. Do they mean $35 to $75 per hour for the session fee? Or are they talking about, how much they're paying to buy out the work? Or they're talking literally none of it, and it's literally just $35 to $75 an hour per, just that's all you get paid. There is no buyouts, there's no session fees. It's like, you're paid $35 an hour like an employee. Now, the reason why I said, me personally, I would never do that, okay, is because, that is a lot of work in our business, in voiceover, for not a lot of money at all. Now, I always thought the counter argument was, minimum wage is like $15 or something. Nurses make around that, right? Nurses make around $30 to $50. I know my mom has been a nurse my whole life, and then she became a doctor after being a nurse for almost 30 years. She went back to school, became a doctor. She's always been open with me about the medical field, and I've seen it throughout our lives of what they get paid. So like I understand hourly wages, because most of America and the world is on that. However, we're businesses, right? And most of us spend the majority of our time getting work. And so when you look at rates from that standpoint, you have to think, okay, well, it on paper, it looks like this, but how long did it take you to get that job? So if you add up all of that time to get the job, right? And then when the job finally comes, it severely decreases the amount that you get. Now, when you're starting out in your career, let's be honest, we have to do whatever we can to get work, right? We often take jobs that might not pay as high because we're trying to get work. We're trying to start and grow a business. But I do think that it's an interesting conversation to have, and that, it's understandable that so many people are up in arms. And I think partly so too, just my opinion, is Crunchyroll and Funimation aren't saying anything. They're not saying anything. And I think now, no matter what, you and I know that you're never going to please everybody, right? It's just never going to happen. However, it just seems to me that it'd be nice for them to say something. Now, SAG-AFTRA getting involved, right? That's a big deal, right? Because SAG-AFTRA I'm sure would love nothing more than lock down some sort of contract with them. But we don't know we just don't know what's going on. So again, they branded this whole thing, we just want to sit down and have a conversation with you. And, now, of course, all of us could be like, I don't see a problem with that. And I don't. However, I don't know if Crunchyroll looks at that as a submission of guilt You know what I mean? Or something, or like that they've done something wrong, so they're not going to even entertain it. But their claim, or they're making it sound like, if you don't, if this voice act, or it came out that they had fired a bunch of voice actors who refused to do it and just hired new ones. So I don't, I think there's a lot of fluff going, not fluff is the wrong word. There's just a lot of stuff going around, and you don't know whether it's true or not true. But at the heart of it, it is evident that they've become a monopoly almost now in this area. And, most of the work, dubbing work for anime and voice actors is going to go through them, and you're going to have to deal with what they're putting out there. Let's go through. I'm interested to hear what you guys say real quick. I know I'm gonna go through this. If you got some comments about this or thoughts, put it down there. I'd love to chat with you on it. Let's see, Daniel, what's up from Morrison, Colorado? Good to have you. Sherry, hello, Sherry. I got to get you that code for the conference. By the way, remember, VO's Journey Conference is next week, the 14th through the 16th. I can't believe it is so close. Get your tickets. There's a link below. Get your tickets today. Let's see. Hello, Anthony. Hello. I don't know who that was it says, thank you for your help, Mr. Anthony. Says, I'm Josh from Florida. Hey, Josh. My thoughts and prayers are with you. I don't know if you were in the places in Florida that were hit hardest, but I hope you're doing well, you and your family. Mike, hey, Anthony, love the content. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Catherine, what's up, Catherine? Good morning, Anthony from Apple Valley, California, land of no apples. Oh, the no apples. It's horrible. Good morning, Eric. What's up, Eric? How you doing, my friend? I thought you'd find this interesting, Eric, as well, this topic today. Tim says, looking for voice over work. I'm in Fiverr and Upwork. Where are some other places where I can get work? Absolutely. So, Fiverr and Upwork are wonderful places to start. I started on ACX. For audiobooks, Find Away Voices, Ahab. We're going to have Penguin Random Audio House at the conference, by the way, talking about getting work in audiobooks. But those are a couple sites, but also you've got Bunny Studios, People Per Hour. You've got, now Bunny Studios, you talk about a place who takes a lot of money from you. But anyways, but they give you work. I mean, so it's the hardest, all of these arguments, they're rightly so. And there should be conversations about pay. Why not, right? But at the same time, I'm doing some really exciting things. I can't tell you all about it. If you're in the academy, but I'm not telling everybody yet exactly what we're cooking up over the academy, but we're going to be launching something really soon, which I'm really excited about. But I can tell you that, it always is, pricing is always a very difficult thing, and especially bringing people business, right? You're getting, so there's one thing to say, I need to be paid more, and we all want to be paid more. There's also another thing to say, can you get business or not? So, but anyways, those are some different places that you can get work, your own website, you can find an agents, work with agencies, studios, there's email marketing, cold calling. This is straight up, when you're working by yourself, it's straight up guerrilla marketing. I mean, that's what we're doing. We're small businesses. We're usually, a one-person team, so we've got to do it all. Let's see. I have actually a marketing course. It's Marketing 101, and I lay out a 3-step plan, right? Going from freelance websites and moving on to other options, and I walk you through how to do everything with, with reference guides and maps and all kinds of things over on the, I've got to put it up though. I had switched around a VO's Journey website for a while, if you haven't noticed, and I took down a lot of the courses because we really were highlighting a VO's Journey Elite Academy. So if you've been over there, you notice the front page looks different because it's about the Academy, and then there's a little tab on there that says voiceover training, and I haven't gotten all the courses back up on that page, so I apologize about that. So I will be putting that up there, but keep an eye out for that Marketing 101 course. It's one of the most underrated courses I've made because it's kind of not, as sexy as my, make $20,000 on Fiverr video course, which has sold the most out of any of my courses and helped, hundreds or thousands of people now. No, we've not sold thousands. I think we've sold about 600 or 700 of those, but almost getting close to 1,000, which is really exciting because it's helped a lot of people. But I will continue. I'll make sure I get that up as today or tomorrow. Get more courses up on there. Let's see. What is the standard rate? So that okay. So this is where they want to have. Thank you. Is it Acasio G? This is where they want to have the conversation because they want to negotiate definitely higher rates. Standard rates for this can range between session fees for being, like I said, it could be like a $200 minimum session fee. Up to between like $50 and $150 per hour afterwards. Then on top of that, usage rights can go over anywhere from $250 to $600 for 3 months, and then like over 1,000 for 6 months, and then we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for a year, and then to buy out in perpetuity, we're talking massive amount, 10, 15, $20,000. So in a lot of people's minds, you're talking about an incredible ripoff. However, from a business standpoint on the other side of it, I don't know how well they could function paying those types of rates. And then who sets those rates? So this is why I created my rate guide on avosjourney.com. But like, for example, the Global Voice Acting Academy or whatever, that's GVAA. There's also Gravy for the Brain created their own, which was originally UK, but they've tried to, they've grown out of the UK. But that's kind of a UK based site. And these places have published their own guides, and now there's also SAG-AFTRA has their own guide. Okay. So SAG-AFTRA, clearly if you're a SAG-AFTRA actor, that's what's set there, and they don't really publish that. It's not published. So these other guides, which have tried to do their best to, I guess, bring some of that pricing outside for more like non-union workers, talks about it. But I think that the averages are so massively wide right now. I mean, the discrepancy between the high end and the low end is so massive that it's difficult to get a feel anymore what's going on. I know I have a lot of friends now who run these websites, right? These big websites that we're getting work from, and they tell me constantly it's really a negotiation between you and the company what their budget is. A lot of times they'll turn down work because they're not paying enough, but a lot of times, it's then, what do? If company after company after company comes to you and says, this is my budget, you know what I mean? I mean, that's where, it becomes a struggle. But, I think that goes back to a lot of other things. But yeah, so that's a hard question, and I think that's the problem. So I think what they want, Acasio, is to sit down with them and definitely negotiate a lot more, like a standard, like standards, like a standard session fee. When you come in to record, it's going to be this amount of money, whether it's an hour or 5 hours or 10 hours, right? Because some people will record for like an entire week, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day. And they are right. I mean, if anybody's done character work, it is very stressful on your voice. It's very stressful and taxing on your voice. It's a challenge. Love the sound titles. I have the same one. Cool color. Love the sound title. Tiles. Oh, tiles. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah, I love the purple and black. On my previous studio, remember I had orange and blue. So I definitely love the purple and black. Let's see. Afternoon, Anthony. Nice to see you all mended up. Thank you very much. Yes. COVID sucks, but we got over it, so we're good. My wife and I, we're good to go. Nate says, voice 123. Voice 123. There it is. Okay, Danielle says, I've been seeing a lot of negative stuff about Crunchyroll lately. Since they're in Texas, they apparently don't have to pay union rates or something. Well, so you don't have to pay union rates anywhere, but usually a lot of these bigger places, right, would have lobbied, they've been lobbied to negotiate contracts. And then once that company has a contract, right, then they're locked into it. So what they mean by Texas being a right to work state, so is Virginia, right, or different places where I live. But basically what it means is like, there can be a union anywhere, but they don't have to, basically they can fire you based on that they don't. I'm trying to hold on. Let me say the words I'm trying to use. So like in this state, you can. So basically, you could just be fired because there doesn't have to be a reason per se, although that's changing a lot now with our society and the way everything is now. But there doesn't have to be like you could be fired over price. Like you don't want to work for that price, they just fire you and find someone else. Whereas, if you're not in a state like that, there has to be more reasons behind, being fired or I'm not exactly quite sure, so I'm talking out the side of my mouth here, but I do know that it gives the employers more of a right as opposed to some states, right? It gives the workers more of a right. So it's harder. I can see both sides. You know what I mean? I'm definitely can try. I always try to look at both sides of things. So yeah. Let's see. Danielle says, if Crunchyroll contacted me for so little, I'd be insulted. And since I'm somewhat active in the very local Twitter voiceover community, I'd be reluctant to take it. Yeah, especially now. I mean, I don't, and I don't know. I mean, I think Crunchyroll probably feels like there's an army of people waiting to do this, and maybe there is. I don't know. And the funny thing is, again, that we don't know. They're not saying anything about it, so it's just weird in that sense. Tim says, pay to play, no negotiation. Pay the voiceover artists what they are worth. Pay to play, no Oh, were you talking? Was that Voice 123 or just in general? Pay to play, no negotiation. Because Nate said Voice 123 at the top, which is a pay to play, no negotiation. Pay the voiceover. So I think, I think Tim, for us as voice actors, it's always important for us to determine. I think, what is it that we are? What do we need? What are we actually looking for? Like I'm a big advocate for being specific so that it actually happens. Like I want things to happen. I want them to actually go from words into existence, right? So like that's just that. I mean, I think I'm just cursed with that thing where I want it to actually come to fruition. So like that's such an argument that's in our community, right? It's good to pay you what you're worth. But the thing is that me, I've said multiple times, it's hard to put an actual worth on a human being, right? But I don't think that's what we're actually trying to say. I think we're trying to say, as voice actors, what should we be being paid? Per recording, per hour, per word, whatever. So I do think, however, we have to start being more specific about what that means, and who sets that worth. Is it the individual voice actor? Is it, no offense to GVAA or myself for publishing my own rate guide. Who says that my rate guide should be what everybody follows? I mean, I made my rate guide based off of what I was seeing in my spherical realm of existence and voiceover. The GVAA has a different realm. They see something different. Gravy for the Brain sees something different, and playing in different ponds and oceans and seas and stuff. So all these are different things. So all I'm saying, Tim, is I love for us to start being a lot more specific. And I know that we're just saying this as an idea, saying, listen, we need to make sure we're being on top of what people are being paid. I just like to make sure that so it happens, we actually know what that price is. Let's see. Nate says, I have seen an agent that only offers $100 for a job. I won't even audition for that price. It's hard because the question is, can you make it work? Now, only thing I have to say, and there's a lot of people will go into this, the other side is, if you are making no money at all and you have to pay your bills, do you just say, well, do you leave voiceover and say, well, I'm not going to, I'm not going to do this in this, this business unless I get paid quadruple what these people are paying me? Or B, do you take the work to survive so that, and then, continuously look for higher paying jobs? It's a challenge that a lot of us are facing right now, I think. Tim says, all of us voiceover guys need to start our own platform to compete with the big boys. So Tim, something, I'm not saying anything, but we're doing something at the Avio's Journey Elite Academy. that will be launched soon. It's a lot of work. That's all I'm saying. Nate says, yes, Tim. John says, good morning from Maine. Good to have you, John. Famicom Mike, what's up? I used to only want to be an anime voiceover talent, but you and Bill Dewey showed me the VO realm is way bigger than anime. Absolutely. And you know, the funny thing is when I first started, all I wanted to do was be a voice actor or be a character actor for Blizzard, you know, for World of Warcraft. So I so such an idiot. I told this story, but I still think it's funny because I can hear that woman's voice in my mind, in my head when I called up Blizzard Entertainment, like customer service. And I was like, "Hello, I'd like to do voiceover for World of Warcraft. Can you help me?" And a woman's just like, do you have a problem with your account, sir?" It's like, no, I want to do voiceover. You know, I'm calling customer service. So, you know, we all got to start somewhere, right? But yeah, no, I hear you. There's so much out there. There's so much out there. And remember, you can do a lot. And also the whole idea with pricing, you know, you can do a lot, but doesn't mean where you are right now is where you will be down the road, right? Let's see. Facebook user says, hi, Anthony. Hello. GMAP. It's Chris Marsh here chilling. Hey, Chris, I got to check out that conference. Absolutely. Make sure you check out. It's going to be great. We've got 3 days. It's Zoom. It's a Zoom event, so you can do it from anywhere, from your home. We wanted to create a conference where everybody could attend today. You know, with all the travel costs and everything being so expensive, it's just really hard. And especially this time of year, you know, we've got kids in school. It's just challenging to travel. So we wanted to try to see if we could, you know, do something where we didn't have to travel. The only downside is, and this is not, and it's only a very few outlying countries, sadly, but you know, it's not. We've had some people from different countries say that the Zoom events won't allow them to get a ticket, but for the most part, you know, everybody can join. But that's been kind of junky. So, but anyways, check it out. We'd love to have you. Let's see, Terry from California. I think that rate is pretty low. I ask $150 per finished hour, and that seems low to me. Oh yeah. So as a person who's done hundreds of audiobooks and a lot under pseudonyms, it's a lot of work, right? I mean, even an audiobook, I think of anyone if there's anyone in the voiceover industry who's paid the worst, it is audiobook narrators. I'm just saying. Okay, audiobook narrators are paid, like we're paid peanuts, you know, because, you know, you think about $150 per finished hour, it might take you 4 to 6 hours to complete that finished hour. So if you take $150 and divide it by 5 even, what do you got? I mean, how much, what is that? I don't even know, what is that? That's $30 an hour. So, I mean, you know, it's a challenge. Now, that's why, you know, you want to charge more, but I still think that there's something to be said about making sure that, you know, we are aware of what we're trying to accomplish. And, you know, when it comes to pricing, but then there's a market that also tells us what's available too. So this is a big issue, and I think it will continue to be an issue and a challenge. Replying to Facebook user, sorry, it's UK, Nikki. Hey, Nikki. Famicom Mike says, long time no see too, Anthony. I'm from Florida and didn't get harmed from Ian too. I'm glad to hear it, Mike. I'm glad to hear it. And then again, like I said before, my heart goes out to everybody in Florida. The stuff we saw, the devastation down there is unbelievable. So my heart goes out to you guys. Danielle says, oh yeah, Tennessee is right, is a right to work state too. Yep. Sherry says, at will state is where no reason given. At will state is where no reason given. Sherry, I'm not sure I understand that. I might be reading that wrong. Let's see. Facebook user says, if they are able to hire the people that they need for $35 an hour, and those people are willing to show up and do the job for $35 an hour, what's the problem? Right. And that is, and I think, because again, remember, they haven't, Crunchyroll and Funimation doesn't seem to have or they haven't put anything out on Twitter or anything like that. I think it seems that that's what they think. In which case, there's nothing anybody can do about it, as long as, you know, they're in, like you said, a right to work state, That is what it is. There isn't a problem except for the fact that a lot of people are very upset about it. But then you could also, from the other side, be like, let them be upset. You know what I mean? So I think that a lot of these people are trying to pull together with SAG-AFTRA in hopes to make something different. I think the thing that was underplayed, kind of, but not, is the fact that they're calling them a monopoly. And because since they bought Funimation, right, I think that they're holding the majority of the market. Now, in a free capitalist society, right, the idea is, well, if you don't like it, let's start our own place. Let's do it like someone said, let's all pull together and start our own place and start, we can pay whatever we want to voice actors and we can do whatever we want. Absolutely, you can. But if they're a monopoly, you know what I mean? The idea with being a monopoly is that it affects everybody else's ability to, have a healthy competition. I cannot speak about understanding. I don't know a great deal of this side of the market. I just wanted to talk to you guys about it today because it's kind of been everywhere. But there's a lot to be said about that. But at the same time, I don't know their business model. Do you know what I mean? I mean, they, who knows how much they're making, how much that costs them. I don't know. And they don't. And so I think that's why the whole thing came out. Let's sit down and have a conversation, right? Let's see, have a conversation with people. People want to know. Now, they're a company, so they're in the United States of America. They're in Texas. So technically, they don't have to sit down with anybody. They can do whatever the heck they want. And I think that's what they're doing. Is that the right thing to do? Like from the standpoint of a business that is working with that many people, and I don't know. That's not me to decide if that's the right thing. Again, if it was put upon me and I was running the company, would that be what I would do from my own standpoint? No, I would have to sit down and talk to people. And who knows, maybe they are talking to people, we just don't know, but you know what I mean? I always give it the sniff test on myself, and this is just based on my opinions. That's not what I would do, but I'm not running that company. Gavrosh says wink wink. Exactly. Wink wink. Hello, I've been following your channel and podcast for a while, but this is the first time I caught a live stream. Thanks for being a fountain of information. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. I really love it. Let's see. Gavrosh says, I literally just want to do it all. IVR, voice acting, audiobooks. I don't know where to start. Yeah, I mean, just jump in somewhere. Now, as I was talking about audiobooks still is, the largest growing part of voiceover from an opportunity standpoint as well, right? I mean, there's just so many authors who are I mean, it's just and it seems at this point to be recession proof. Okay, because if we're all home, we're willing to spring for a couple of bucks, $5, $10, $15 for an audiobook, that lets us pass the time. It's something that, and there's not a lack of content that's out there for us to narrate. So it really is a great place to start and an easy entry. That doesn't mean to say that you don't need a lot of skill and talent and practice to do this, and it's absolutely true. But I do know that just the sheer amount of work, audiobooks is a great place to jump in. And as you're starting to learn, because I think audiobooks is also a great place for you to work on your reading skills, your reading out loud skills. That is something that is extremely important for voice actors, to be able to, read out loud effectively as if it's your own words, and to say it, taking other people's words. Oftentimes people who do speeches, excuse me, on a side note, thing about COVID is it's been, we feel a lot better, my wife and I, but man, the cough just doesn't go away. I heard, I was talking to my mom and she's like, sometimes cough can last up to 3 months after it's gone. So I always feel like I got a cough. But the audiobook thing, people who do speeches, the speeches are usually written, either they write them themselves or they have a writer, like politicians, who are writing it for them. For them specifically to speak, like in their own, voice style. But for us, we have to take other people's words every single day. Like after this, I've got some sessions, coaching sessions with people, some one-on-one sessions with people, but then I've got other voiceovers that I've got voiceover work to do, a couple different voiceover jobs today of, written words that were not written for me specifically in my cadence and my style. So I've got to be able to read and take someone else's words and make them sound like myself. And audiobooks gives you a lot of practice, right? Because it's not, a 15-second piece. You know what I mean? Now I do think if you're starting out real quickly, and then we'll move on, but I do think if you're starting out with audiobooks, just know that, when you're first starting out, it's best not to start off with like a 10, 15, 20 hour book. Start out with something between, 5 hours, 5 hours, 7 hours max. But it's a lot of work. It's an extreme a lot of work. It's very satisfying. I loved being able to find myself on Amazon, and Audible and all this stuff. I think it's pretty cool, but it's a lot of work. But it's a good place to start, and it's a good way to get work. And I do have some courses on I've got to put them back up, but I have a course on ACX. Getting yourself set up on ACX and getting voiceover work, how to also edit your work, and also how to format and make sure all your settings are correct. But anyway, so that's, but you can do all of it. Absolutely. Famicom Mike, I had to go back to my original job starting next week, but I'm not giving up on voiceover. It's stupid hard right now, especially since I'm still new. It is. This is a challenge. I mean, some of us people, you know me, I went full time back in 2019, and this year has been the crappiest. It's been the crappiest year since, since I went full time. So it's been, not as good year, although things are picking back up a little bit more now. But that usually happens during this time of year. Summer and September and everything is not, it always is a little bit less, but you're right. It's not been easy. And I do think that, this battle and this idea, with Crunchyroll and all this stuff, I think there's a lot of battling going on right now. So, you're going to have people digging in their heels. It's tough to navigate right now. It's tough to navigate, especially with people also spending less. A lot of people are spending less money. Let's see. Callie says, sorry if this has already been said. For the conference, when will the recordings be available? I will miss some of the live, but want to make sure I see it all. Yeah, so the recordings will be available for the entire week right after the conference is done. Okay, so it's going to be available for the entire week, and I'm going to be taking it and probably will make it available longer. But from Zoom events, they have it available. They host it up for a week after. Okay, so if you miss it, you can watch it for that week, the whole week after it's over. But I believe, I'm gonna take those sessions myself, and I can offer them separately for longer, hopefully. But it might just be under a different link. But anyways, it's up to a week after for right now, and I'm gonna try to make it longer. Let's see if they get the results they're looking for, then why should they pay more? And again, that's the rub. So that's why you have a lot of, I think, voice actors also fighting voice actors. Okay, because then voice actors are mad at other voice actors who are willing to do that. But again, I think the problem from the other side, and I've been there because I've been on this side too. I feel like, what are those voice actors doing to help the other voice actors who aren't making any money? All that's ever said is, well, you just got to get better, or you've got to, go do XYZ. So I think there is an argument on both sides, right? Why should I accept the work at that rate? But then why shouldn't I if I can't get any work anywhere else? And then going in and telling someone that you shouldn't be doing it if you can't get work somewhere else, that pisses people off. This is a big challenge. It's a big challenge altogether. Definitely. But I do think no matter what, we should be talking, because we can work through it together if we work together. I think it's when we stop working together is when nothing ever gets done. You can forcibly make people do something sometimes, but in this case, I don't see how they're going to forcibly make, and I think that's what Crunchyroll, they can't forcibly make them do anything. So hang in, Famicom. I'm in the same boat, but keep working on it. Will happen for you. Absolutely. Danielle says they're saying the problem is it makes it harder for VO actors to get paid rates paid better rates as long as we're willing to continue taking such low rates from companies that can afford to pay. Yeah, and that exactly is what and that's what I was just saying, with voice actors fighting voice actors. And I think that there is some validity there. Again, the problem is, right, is people say, if everyone magically agrees to, and I use the word magically because I feel like this is near impossible. Again, remember I said earlier, I don't know, I'm just a real, I like to try to live in the real, realist. If everyone magically agrees at a higher rate, then no one has any choice to do that. I think we do it by education. All right. I think we keep educating people, training people, making them better so that we will charge more and that the voiceovers and the services are worth more. Okay. So I do agree with that. And what you're saying is right. That's what a lot of people are fighting with voice actors. That's what, people have fought about me on. And so there is something to be said about that. I don't doubt that the quality of anime dubbing will suffer. Darn, just when it was starting to actually be decent. Yeah. John Gass says this. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. Jay says, howdy, buddy. Hey, Jay. Danielle says, Crunchyroll, Funimation, and anime in general has become a multi-million-dollar franchise. I understand why these voice actors are upset. Yeah. It would be interesting, and I don't know this. It would be interesting of how much they're doing. I mean, like, how many, because, we all assume, and I don't know, like, because I don't know if they report they're not a publicly traded company, are they? I don't know. But, there's so little I know about the company, how much money they're actually making, how much, because we see a price tag and be like, that's for one voice actor. But imagine, if they're paying, like, how does this look over the entire business? And is it a viable business if they have to pay voice actors double that? I don't know. See, that's the one thing I don't know. So would you rather a company go out of business and not be able to pay anybody or to continue to be paid? I think there's people on both sides. You know what I mean? So I think and then these are just me thinking out loud. I don't know. I have no idea any of that. But again, my thing is have a conversation. I do kind of like that. Have a conversation with people. But then I don't know the laws. I don't know if you sit down and have a conversation, does that constitute as a negotiation? And then you're bound by certain laws? I don't know. And does that have to do with the right to work state? Are you bound in a right to work state? See, I don't know any of this. There's a lot of things that I don't know, like SAG-AFTRA, and lawyer. Maybe by just giving them that audience, they start getting locked into something. I don't know. I have no idea. Hey, Anthony. Thanks for the forum. Absolutely, Danny. Sindel says, hi, Anthony. So glad I found your channel. I've learned so much. Thank you. Nate says, that dry cough lasts for about 5 months. Hang in there, Anthony. We did it twice. Oh, well, thank you for letting me know, man. Famicon says, thank you, Tim. I'm glad to hear that everyone else is having a hard time right now. I thought it was just me. No, it's not, ma'am. Nate says, same here, Famicon, Mike, and Tim. Thanks, Nate. Chris says, hello, just starting my journey. Thanks for sharing yours. Absolutely, Chris. Welcome. Tim says, welcome aboard, Chris. Michael says, this is something I really want to do. I submitted several auditions to ACX. No luck. Is voice acting in VO just oversaturated? I don't think so. But, you could talk to 10 different people and they all give you different ideas. Do I think that there's a massive amount of people who flooded into voiceover since 2020? Absolutely. And it definitely has made it a lot easier for people to find voice actors. Okay, so there's definitely that, which means that, you got to be better. However, I would want to say something real quick, Michael. When you say several auditions, what does several auditions mean? Is that like 5, 10, 20, 30? I don't know what several means. So I think it's one of those things where it could take a lot. And then what are you auditioning for? Are you auditioning for anything? We're auditioning for high paying books, royalty shares. What is all, there's so many things to go into. So I would say, Michael, on a side note, a lot of times it's good to get, into a community, a place where, you have people who are doing what you want to do and you can draw upon that. That's why I've got, I can't speak more highly enough about a VO's Journey Elite Academy. and what we're doing there, besides just the learning through our live classes, like my live classes tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. And as we're talking about tonight, building demos because of what I'm doing over the academy, we need a lot more demos from people. So we're talking about, building your DIY demos and how you can do that successfully. Because right now, who has $2,000 or $3,000 to buy a demo? So we're going to be, we're doing that. So we're talking about that tonight. But we have such a good community, a robust community and through our Discord, where it's just very active. You know what I mean? At times we have 40 people on there live, just interacting with each other. It's a really, at the same time, right? Which I just find amazing and incredible. So you should check that out. There's a link below for that. Josh says, "Hi, Mr. Pika, huge fan of your work." Thank you, Josh. I really appreciate it. Listen, everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure you subscribe. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button. Share this with somebody. Check out the information on the conference below, as well as the academy. We'd love to have you. You do get a discount being in the academy, but we'd love to have you come check all those out. You can go to avosjourney.com to check out both of those. And I hope this was helpful. And I'm interested to see what happens with Crunchyroll and Funimation if they decide to have a conversation. I don't see why you shouldn't have a conversation. Honestly, I just don't. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful Wednesday, and I will talk to you soon. All right, everybody. Thank you so much.